In this video, we are going to focus on expanding binomial products. A binomial product involves multiplying every term in one expression with every term in the other expression. So I'm going to calculate a few questions here for you using the steps key, with black being the question, and then we go from red to green. So we have two expressions here, and inside the brackets of one expression there's two terms, and the same in the other expression, there is two terms. So we have to actually multiply those. So we've got to show our intent to multiply. So using a red pen, it's our first step, I'm going to show that intent to multiply. I'm going to multiply x with x and x with 3. And then I'm going to multiply this number 2 here, this second term in this expression, with x and with 3. So I've now shown my intent to multiply. And I'm going to do that now. So the first thing is x times x is x squared. Now remember, I have to think about my positive and negatives because these terms own this symbol in front. So x multiplied by positive 3 is positive 3x. I now do the same underneath. 2 multiplied by x is a positive 2x. And 2 multiplied by 3, and they're positive, is going to be a positive 6. So now I have done my multiplication between the terms. Now I'm going to have to look at grouping like terms in this second step here. So I'm going to use my green pen now. Which terms are like? So I can see that there's a positive 3x and a positive 2x, so I can circle those. Remember that the positive or negative symbol, the plus or minus symbol, must be circled within that term. Now, you're going to find most of the terms that will be circled will be in the center, in the middle there. X squared and positive 6 are not related, so I've only got 2 terms that are related there. And now I'm going to go down and solve. So what's not related just simply drops down. So x to the power of 2, or x squared, drops down. And now I actually solve these like terms. I'm going to add them because it tells me to. So we have a positive 3x plus a positive 2x. That gives me a positive 5x. And then I simply drop down the positive 6. So I've just answered the first one. We're going to follow the same process in the second question, but we have a negative term here. Even though it says x minus 4, that 4 owns that subtraction symbol, and that makes it a negative. So again, we're going to show our intent to multiply. So I'm just going to draw my lines in now. So the first term gets multiplied with the 2 terms in the second expression. And then this second term here gets multiplied with the 2 terms in the other expression. So I've now done the intent to multiply. Equal sign, and now I'm going to multiply in. X times x is x squared. X times positive 2 is positive 2x. Now I do the second term. Now this is a negative number because this owns the negative symbol. So negative 4 multiplied by x is negative 4x. And negative 4 multiplied by a positive 2 is a negative 8. So now I've multiplied those terms. And now I'm going to group the like terms in the second line. And I know that positive 2x and negative 4x are related. They're like terms. But this term here, x squared and negative 8, don't have a relationship with each other or any of the other ones. So now I'm going to solve. I drop my equal sign. And the x squared has no relationship to anything else, so it simply drops down. I now look at my like terms and I solve those separately to the negative 8, which also drops down. So positive 2x minus 4x equals negative 2x. And then I simply drop down my negative 8. Let's now take a look at these next 2 questions. Let's focus on question 3 here. Exactly the same as before, show our intent to multiply into the other expression. That's the first thing we have to do. And now we're going to actually multiply them. So drop the equal sign. 3x multiplied by 2x is 6x squared. So we multiply these numbers, and because they both have an x, the x multiplies by itself to produce the x squared. We now go 3x multiplied by negative 5, because that is owned, that symbol, by that 5. And that is a negative 15x. We now multiply the second term into this expression, so negative 2, because it's a negative based on that subtraction. Negative 2 multiplied by 2x, it's negative 4x. And finally, negative 2 multiplied by negative 5, that is 2 negatives multiplied, produces a positive, and that's a positive 10. So now we have to group our like terms, and again you tend to find them in the centre. The negative 15x is related to the negative 4x, 6x squared and 10 are not related and therefore do not get circled. We now go to the bottom and we solve. The 6x squared gets dropped down, nothing else happens to it. We now have to solve these like terms, so negative 15x minus 4x equals negative 19x, and then we simply drop down the positive 10 after. The question over here on the right, question 4, again, like everything we've been doing, we multiply into the brackets, but we first show our intent to multiply using these lines. We put an equal sign down, and now we start to multiply. So 2ab multiplied by a, and that's going to give us a 2a squared b. The only thing that gets squared is the a, because the b is not related to the a, and the 2 sits alone. So 2a squared b. 2ab multiplied by negative 3b. So it's a negative 6 because we multiplied the 2 by negative 3. And then we sort out our pronumerals. The a sits alone, and because there's 2 b's, we actually have a b squared. And now we go and we multiply the second term with this expression. So b multiplied by a is a positive ab. We keep these pronumerals in alphabetical order. And then we go b multiplied by negative 3b, and we get a negative 3b, and because there's 2 b's, it's squared. We now have to group the like terms. So take a close look at this. Can we find any? 2a squared b, is there any term like that through here? I don't think I can see anything that's related. So when you can't see anything related, this ends up being the answer. So we don't need to continue any further because there are no like terms that need to be grouped. So therefore that is our answer. We now have our last 2 questions here, and always following the same process. We start by showing our intent to multiply the terms between the expressions. So we draw our lines in as we have been doing. Drop the equal sign underneath, and then we multiply. C multiplied by 4c is a 4c squared. C multiplied by negative 7 is a negative 7c. We then start with a negative 6 and we multiply into the second expression. So negative 6 multiplied by 4c, negative 24c. And then negative 6 multiplied by negative 7 becomes a positive 42. We're now going to group the like terms. So we tend to look straight to the centre. We can see there's a negative 7c and a negative 24c that are related. The 4c squared and the positive 42 are not related, so therefore we can now start to solve on the bottom line. We simply drop the 4c squared down, and then we work our 2 like terms. So negative 7c minus 24c is negative 31c, and then we simply drop down the positive 42. Last question on the right here, we start with our intent to multiply, so we just simply draw our lines for multiplication. Equal sign, and now we solve those multiplication questions when we multiply the terms. So a times 2a is 2a squared. A multiplied by negative 3c is a negative 3ac, so a comes before c, and that's why a is written before c here, regardless if it was back to front up the top. Second term multiplying into the expression is a positive c, so c multiplied by 2a, positive 2ac. A comes before C, that's why it's written that way. And the last one is C multiplied by negative 3C. So it's a negative 3C squared. Now we need to find our like terms. And again, looking into the centre, you can see we have a negative 3AC and a positive 2AC. They are related, so I join them. Drop down the equal sign. 2A squared, not related to anything, so it just drops down. I'm going to solve my like terms now. So 3AC, or negative 3AC I should say, plus 2AC is a negative 1AC. Now, you can leave the 1 in there, that's absolutely fine, but I'm going to take it out. So it's good to put it in there to begin with so you can see it clearly and understand it when you check your answer. I'm now taking that out. And the last one, we drop down the negative 3C squared.